Shalom, my friends. Welcome to another TikTok review of this individual who I previously spoke about in my last video. Let's get into it.
Do you got what you got to say? What is it? Why here's again this what you got to say?
I'm saying if you want to say here's all I have to say on this topic, then I'll go. If you want Israel to be ruled by Muslim extremists, and you want us to live as dhimmis and second-class citizens in our own land, we've already experienced that when we lived in Muslim countries. And we weren't Ashkenazi Jews, by the way, that were living in Muslim lands. We were Mizrahi Jews. We were exiled to those lands. We're all Jews.
Stop saying we, bro.
You're any other type of Jew. But they were exiled to Muslim lands. We will not live as dhimmis.
You saying we? You've never lived in a Muslim land. You're from Poland. Poland was never ran by Muslims.
We're all Jews, my friend. We were just exiled to different places.
Hold on, real quick. Ukraine, Poland, Belarus.
We're all Jews. Is Poland not a place?
Germany's never been controlled by Muslims, my man. You've never lived in a Muslim land.
No, I'm saying that we're all Jews. And the Jews who were living in Muslim lands were ruled by dhimmis as second-class citizens. They were ruled by people who made us into second-class citizens.
Hold on. Wait. First of all, you got to understand the definition of words. Let's look at what a dhimmi was. You want to look what a dhimmi is? Let's look at the definition.
Dhimmi is a second-class citizen. If you want Israel to be ruled by Muslims, by Hamas, then we will by whatever.
Real quick, the time for the Jewish The time for the Jewish Golden Age was actually located within Spain, and it was under Islamic control and Islamic rule. This is when your guys' culture was able to prosper the most. So why don't you shut your mouth when you talk about Muslim
compared to when we were being slaughtered by Christians.
Oh man, you got to be quiet. I want to read your definition of a dhimmi. This is the.
So this man discussing the golden age of Jews in Spain under Muslim rule, right? So I said, before I got cut off, you mean in comparison to what was going on in terms of the slaughter of the Middle Ages to the Jews, right? Like, if you want to call that quote-unquote golden, I guess you can, but it's not like that was an ideal situation that we're going to live as second-class citizens living as dhimmis, and you'll see the host is going to explain what a dhimmi is, and we'll get into that in a second.
Definition of the word dhimmi, I want you to listen to it. Dhimmi.
Why don't you let Jews explain our own history rather than you explain it to us?
Listen, you don't know our history. You weren't there. It's not your people. I'm going to drop you in a second, bro. Just be quiet. I'm trying to read the definition of a word. Just shut up for 1 second. You say you want to have an intellectual conversation. I try to read a definition, and you won't let me read it. That's not intellectual. That's just you running your mouth. Be quiet. I'm going to read the definition of a word. You understand? Do you get it, Yehuda?
Go for it, my friend.
Yes or no?
You said you're going. This is your room. You can do whatever you want.
Go ahead. Just continue.
I just need a yes or no. Do you understand yes or no? That's all I need from you, bro.
I said yes. What do you?
All right, now shut up.
Not understand English?
Stop fucking talking.
I told you to go.
Stop talking now. I'm gonna drop you. Period. No questions asked. Thanks. Dhimmi, the people of the covenant, a term for non-Muslims living in an Islamic state with legal protection. The word literally means protected person, referring to the state's obligation under Sharia to protect the person's individual life, property, as well as freedom of religion in exchange for loyalty to the state and payment of the jizya tax, in contrast to the zakat, or obligatory alms paid by the Muslim subjects. Dhimmis were exempt from certain duties assigned specifically to Muslims if they paid the poll tax, jizya, but were otherwise equal under the laws, property, contracts, and obligations.
That's simply not true. They live second-class citizens according to the history.
What?
So I said that's simply not true. They lived as second-class citizens according to the history.
We do any research beyond that.
It's not true.
Let's have that conversation, Yehuda.
It is true.
So this Muslim individual is saying that's not true. Well, all you have to do is go further down in the Wikipedia article, right? So this host read verbatim from the beginning of the Wikipedia article. What he didn't mention to you was, the fact that if you go to later in the article, it talks about the restrictions of Jews and Christians. And it says explicitly, there were a number of restrictions on dhimmis. In a modern sense, the dhimmis would be described as second-class citizens. But of course, the host nor the Muslim wanted to acknowledge this. It says, according to historian Marshall Hodgson, from the very early times, Muslim rulers would often humiliate and punish dhimmis, usually Christians or Jews that refused to convert to Islam. It was the official policy that dhimmis should feel inferior and know their place. We were not equal to Muslims under Sharia law of being a dhimmi, right? And it says, although dhimmis were allowed to perform their religious rituals, they were obliged to do so in a manner not conspicuous to Muslims. Loud prayers were forbidden, as were the ringing of church bells and the blowing of the shofar. That's a restriction on our religious rights. That's not equal. They were also not allowed to build or repair churches or synagogues without Muslim consent. Moreover, dhimmis were not allowed to seek converts among Muslims, right? And in the Mamluk Egypt, where non-Muslims or non-Mamluk Muslims were not allowed to ride horses and camels. Dhimmis were prohibited from even riding donkeys inside cities. Imagine if you couldn't ride a car today, right? Drive a car today if you were, under this sort of Islamic system. That's basically what this was equivalent to. Sometimes Muslim rulers issued regulations requiring dhimmis to attach distinctive signs to their houses, right? It's more than just paying a tax. They were second-class citizens. The history confirms this. It's the same article that he was reading from. He just wanted to read a selective part of the Wikipedia article because they're hiding from you the discriminatory nature of what a dhimmi is under the Islamic Sharia law. Just the facts.
Rewrite my own history, my own people.
Why do you talk about having intellectual conversations?
Because you don't want to have an intellectual conversation. You want to tell me that my golden age is living under Sharia law as a dhimmi.
And you can see in the corner the guys posting all these anti-Jewish memes to try and humiliate the idea of, Ashkenazi Jews being Jews. We've always been Jews. The Sephardic Jews and the Mizrahi Jews, we're simply exiled to different countries. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. Jews were never defined by the color of their skin or that they had, and I go through this at length in all my videos. I did this debate with Ariella Sakaria. We've done this ad nauseum, but the fact that this is still pervading on TikTok and that people actually think that Ashkenazi Jews can't be Jews because of the color of their skin is not biblical, it's not historical, and we're just as much Jews as any other group of people. It doesn't say in the Bible that Eastern Europe is not a place that Jews are able to be exiled to, and because of the color of their skin, they were never Jews in the first place and a bunch of converts, right? That is simply not historical, and it's not true. We've always been acknowledged as Jews. Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Mizrahi, and this individual who's claiming he's a Jew simply based off the color of his skin, it's a joke. But you can see that the pro-Palestinians love to jump on this because they want to delegitimize our claim to the land when we were there before them. All of us. We're all Jews. Ashkenazi, Mizrahi, Sephardi. We're all Jews.
Not the case.
The golden age of the Jews was living as under an apartheid system of dhimmis.
Okay, when was your golden age then? When was your golden age?
Precisely.
What are you talking about? Our golden. You don't know when our golden age was?
Yehuda, this is your last chance.
So he's muting me. He's kicking me off the stream. Just keep watching.
Please be quiet. I'm going to bring you sources. If you don't be quiet, I'm just going to
Our golden age was in Jerusalem when we lived.
All right. The golden age for Jews was under a Muslim dynasty in Spain. That's what it was. Point blank period. No questions asked. So the golden age for Jews in Spain was under a Muslim dynasty in Spain. They were so much so connected with that Muslim dynasty in Spain that when the Christians took over, they said both.
This is amazing to me, right? Because he's talking about, so let's look at this Wikipedia article, right? Describing the golden age of the Jews in culture in Spain, right? This was a very short-lived situation. And remember, we're contrasting this to what was happening to the Jews in European countries where they were being slaughtered indiscriminately, right? This was to say that the Jews were living their best life under Muslim rule as dhimmis would be like me saying to a black person in America that post the civil rights movement, right, this is the golden age of black America. We are living in the golden age of black America today, right? Imagine if I said that to a black person like this person here. He would say, no, you have no idea. We're not equal to you. There's discrimination against us. Multiply that times at least 2, and that's how Jews were treated under the dhimmi system of this supposed golden age, right? The other option was to be slaughtered in Christian countries. See, it says it was a time during Muslim rule when intermittently Jews were generally accepted in society and Jewish religious, culture, and economic life flourished. I mean, you might as well put that in quotes, right? Because this was relative to us being slaughtered in Christian countries, right? In European countries, right? This was not something that was, we were still dhimmis under this system, right? And it literally says that it's argued that we were living as under the caliphate with fewer rights than Muslims, but we're still better off than the Christian parts of Europe. That's exactly what I just said. Is that golden? Right? If you look later in the article, you have it literally says that we had partial Jewish autonomy, right? We were still paying the jizya. We still had limitations on how we were allowed to, do our worship, do our religion. This was not some equality system under the dhimmi system, right? The Islamic world classified Jews and Christians as dhimmis and allowed Jews to practice their religion more freely relative than they could in Christian Europe. That's setting the bar real low. And then a lot of times the Palestinians will bring up, or the Muslims will say that, Maimonides was, one of our greatest Jewish rabbis, right, of the, past millennium, he flourished during that time. Yeah, I guess, but he also had to, it says that he was forced to flee to avoid conversion by the Almohads. In the letter to Yemen, right, he wrote, "Dear brothers, because of our many sins, Hashem has cast us among this nation, the Arabs, who are treating us badly." This is the golden age. This is the golden age that he's referencing. It's the same article. They pass laws designated to cause us distress and make us despised. Never has there been a nation that hated, humiliated, and loathed us as much as this one. That's the golden age. How dare you? How dare you define our own history for us when our own leaders describe this time as a loathsome time, not as a time of golden age, right? History might say relative to the way we were treated in Europe by Christian nations that this was better. Our golden age, if you want from our actual history, right? This is a song that is sung in Israel. It's arguably, it's comparable to the, Hatikva, the national anthem. This is Yerushalayim Shel Zahav. This is what is described as the golden age, right? It says Jerusalem of gold. That's what it translates to, right? So if you want our own history, right, this is describing at the time the song was written, the old city of Jerusalem, this is the story of the song, was under Jordanian occupation. Jews had been banned from the old city and the rest of Jerusalem east of it, losing their homes and possessions and becoming refugees. All Jews were barred from entering or returning the areas under Jordanian control, and many holy sites were desecrated and damaged during that period. On June 5th, only 3 weeks after the song was published, the Six-Day War began, when on the third day of the war, June 7, 1967, 28th of ER 5727, IDF paratroopers gained control of the Temple Mount. When they gained control of the Temple Mount, the song Jerusalem of Gold burst from their lips. It was a natural expression of 2,000 years of yearning for that moment, an expression of joy that the heart of Zion was finally returned to the nation of Israel. How dare you say that our golden age was living as second-class citizens under Muslim control as dhimmis in the apartheid system that the Sharia law creates. Our golden age is when the temple stood in Jerusalem over a millennium before Islam was even a thing, before Muhammad was even a twinkle in his mother's eye. When King Solomon, in the book of Kings, right? Chapter 8, this is in the Tanakh. This is our golden age. He built the temple that his father, David, had him build. He fulfilled his father's legacy in building the temple. When they were celebrating, you know what's really ironic about this is they were celebrating Sukkot, right? When on October 7th, do you know what they were celebrating? The 8th day of assembly, also known as Shmini Atzeret, right? If you look in this passage, it says on the 8th day, so it says they were celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles, right, for 7 days, right? This is fascinating to me. For 7 days, right? This is the festival of Tabernacles. And then it says on the 8th day, which is Shmini Atzeret, the day that the Palestinians decided to attack, the kibbutzim, to attack it, on October 7th. That was on this 8th day of assembly, on Shmini Atzeret, B'yom Shmini. He dismissed the people, and they blessed the king and went to their homes, rejoicing and delighted in their heart all the goodness that the Lord had wrought for David, his servant, and for Israel, his people. This is our golden age. This is what we are yearning for, and this is what Jerusalem of gold is all about. That's our golden age. How dare you try and tell us that our golden age was being ruled as second-class citizens under Muslim rule. We will not settle for that. We will have Jerusalem back. We will have our temple back. Bimheira v'yameinu. We will not be your dhimmis any longer. Shalom Aleichem.